Good evening and welcome to the Drive at 5 on IntellectualRadio.com/iHeartRadio station. I'm your host, Roman, and we have a great show planned for you today. But first, the forecast from our IntellectualRadio.com Weather Center. Today, mostly sunny and mild, high 67 degrees. Tonight, mostly cloudy and mild. A shower in spotted areas towards dawn, low 51 degrees. Tomorrow, veritable cloudiness with a couple of brief showers here and there around into the early afternoon. Cooler, high 59 degrees. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy and breezy, low 41 degrees. The rest of the week forecast looks like this. Beautiful with plenty of sun on Wednesday, high 54 degrees. Thursday, sunny and breezy, high 62 degrees. And on Friday, a shower, windy, cooler, high 53 degrees. The Drive at 5 is also part of the Monday Night Mogul with the Spiritual Hour at 4 p.m. Straight No Chaser with Rhea Ray Harris at 6 p.m. Monday Night Mingle with your girl Gina at 7 p.m. and Maze Says with Maze Jackson at 8 p.m. The Drive at 5 is also part of the fabulous 5 at 5 only on IntellectualRadio.com. Today, my guest is a community leader, former candidate for governor, and political analyst. Please give a Drive at 5 welcome to Tio Hardiman. Welcome to the Drive, sir.
I'm glad to be here with you, Roman.
Oh, glad you able to make it.
Yeah, it was tough.
But let's put the political hat aside. Of course, last week we lost a true legend in radio, Herb Kent, and you were real good friends with him. You did the Battle of the Best with him, I know, several times. So you want to talk and share a couple of minutes about Herb Kent?
No, Herb Kent was the perfect gentleman, the cool gent. I call myself the cool gent sometimes too, right? So the reality is Herb Kent, I had some good experiences with him, not just because of Battle of the Best. Herb Kent actually, when I was involved in the promotional business and steppers parties and all that stuff, Herb Kent actually DJ'd a couple of my parties in the past. But there was one time I was on the Battle of the Best. He talked me into taking Teddy Pendergrass over. No, he talked me into taking Barry White over Teddy. Let me get it right. Because I lost the battle. Put it like that.
Okay.
But anyway, no, this what it was. I took Teddy Pendergrass over Luther Vandross. Mm-hmm. And Herb Kent talked me into that particular battle. But he actually, he won every time. Then there was a time we had Lakeside and Cameo, and I took Lakeside over Cameo because I like Fantastic Voyage, right?
Right.
And that's the only record I really like. So, but Cameo actually beat Lakeside as well. So I have a lot of good experiences with Herb Kent. Smooth guy. He actually said that he wanted to, when he leave this planet, he wanted to leave and still be on radio. And he 70 years on radio. It's amazing. And I have to give him credit where it's due. He was an icon, the cool gent. No, I'm not. No, of course I'm not. I wasn't around. I'm not as old as Herb Kent. I'm many decades younger than Herb Kent. But the thing about it, that man, he was like Don Cornelius from Soul Train. If you think about it, he was like a fixture every Saturday and Sunday on the radio for generations to come. Everybody listened to Herb Kent, so he'll be definitely missed, and that's one thing I say there.
Now, I know this is a diss towards you.
Oh, that's fine.
But in the barbershops, you go around and you hear those Dusties playing in the beauty salons. Right. You hear it in the barbershops. Whether you're young or old, you don't touch that dial when Herb is on. And you can hear him saying, "Here's your Herbie baby order." So you have like some experience with him in your promotional days. Could you give us at least one story to share with us?
Basically, I come out of promotions. People don't know that about me. That's why I know a lot of people statewide. I used to produce big time comedy shows at the Erie Crown Theater, Stepper Sets comedy shows on the West Side, stage plays. I actually wrote and produced a stage play called A Stepper Story, which Casper started to play, and Herb Kent actually DJ'd for my play then. So I can't tell you a lot of stories other than the fact that Herb was always professional around me. We had a little fun in the studio a couple of times, but I can't mention some of the things we talked about on the air that we talked about in the studio because we didn't have that on the air as well. Okay. Herb had his opinions about certain issues.
Okay.
We talk about that, behind the scenes.
Okay.
But he was actually a funny guy. Herb was funny as he could be. Even at his age, Herb Kent was something. Matter of fact, this is the story I tell you. we was in the studio one day. Herb actually took his teeth out of his mouth. I don't know what that was all about, but they did start chopping his gums. I was like, yeah, right on, brother, right on. I say we got to get your AARP card or something, you know. But no, we had fun with Herb Kent. There's no doubt about it. I think that, like you said, he was a fixture. Even if they would have played reruns of Herb Kent on the Ballad of the Best for the next 10 years, people would still listen. You really, I mean, hopefully, like somebody like Ramonski Love or Casper, Joe Soto, either my girl Troy Tyler would step up and make sure the best Battle of the Best continues forward. But if they played reruns, people would still listen. That's, I remember, Hail Melvin the Blue Notes, The Love I Lost. I love them type of records, Bad Luck and all that kind of stuff, right? And then I'm just saying those are just some of the records, Rolls Royce, Love Don't Live Here No More. I'm just, all the records, Herb was like I say, he goes back, he was like 88 years old. So you got to think about it, like Dick Clark. He wanted to be America's #1 teenager, no matter how old he got. I still think I'm 39 years old. I tell people that all the time. So I understand because my energy level is real, real good. I work out every day. I do something every day. I run, jump rope, box, whatever I can do to just keep myself in shape. So I feel good about my experiences with Herb Kent. I must say that.
All right, thank you for sharing. Really appreciate it. Getting back to what you're here for, we have an exclusive on the Drive at 5. It has been reported that over 100,000 or more people in Illinois who are receiving government assistance did not receive it this month. According to the Department of Human and Family Services, they said the reason is because of tremendous backup for the delay. I have a two-part question with this. One is, do you think it's because of Governor Runner failure to approve the budget? Or two, do you think federal politics is playing a role in this situation because what is at stake in the presidential election?
Well, hopefully it's not federal politics, being involved in a situation like this. 100,000 people not receiving their monthly checks, it's like fatal, because if you are depending on a monthly check to pay your bills, to make sure you buy some food and everything like that, Bruce Rauner has been one of the worst governors the state of Illinois has ever experienced. Based on he has not moved the state forward at all. He has not reduced the state deficit. He ran on a campaign slogan of shaking up Springfield, but the only people he shook up was the working class and poor people. So if people are not getting their checks, it's fatal for the poor. And it's not right. It's inhumane, because if you're only receiving, let's say $200 or $300 a month, if that's what you're receiving, you need that money. Sincerely, this is what leads people to committing suicide, going to the crazy house, and not being able to buy milk for their babies. This is a cold, callous move. That's why we have to make sure that we do everything possible to ensure that this guy does not get reelected, whether it's a federal problem or whether it's a state issue. I ran for governor because when I ran to speak up for the working class and poor people for real. We have rich people playing politics all across the United States, the same way Trump is getting all this here mileage in the media. If he were a black man running for president, he would have never made it this far, because what he's saying almost every day doesn't make no sense. This guy has had more issues, but what he's done on another level, he's opened up the door to the not so perfect candidates to run for high level office. So if Trump can do it, they shouldn't have a problem with other people doing it. Sincerely, that's what you call white privilege, if they do have a problem. I'm not saying that Hillary Clinton is so much better than him, but this guy has been an absolute disaster in his public policies. I just did an interview earlier today. He talked about gun control. He doesn't know nothing about gun control. He doesn't have a strong policy to deal with those issues. But back to your question, if that be the case, people in Illinois need to understand, you cannot continue to step on poor people. It's not right. Now, they may point fingers at the federal government. I understand that. But for the first time in the history of Illinois, people that play the lottery cannot even get paid if they win a certain amount of money, because of the state backup, Rauner not willing to kind of like compromise with Madigan down there in Illinois.
This has been underreported or not reported at all about people not receiving their government assistance this month. Even though we're like in the early stages of this month, you're talking about Thanksgiving, so forth and so on. They're saying it's a backlog. people are not buying that,
Mhm.
what would you say to them in regards, because if they're thinking about casting their vote tomorrow, what would you say to them because they're hurting?
Well, I would tell them basically at this point, understand this. Democrats have controlled Illinois for a long, long time. Okay? Right now, the state of Illinois is #1 in unemployment for African American people. Right now in the nation. You can look them numbers up. So what have we really achieved under Democrats or Republicans? So what I would tell those 100,000 people, what I would say to them, definitely vote for the candidate of your choice, but do not depend on politicians to carry the water for you. This is what you call a travesty right now, because it hurts me to even think about people. I know people that get a monthly check. And I know how hard it is and how people just waiting on the mail to come to get their government check. I'm not saying they should be dependent on a government check for the rest of their lives, but I can understand it. Okay, so it's really, it hurts, man, because people continue to step on the poor because of their own inability to empathize of being in the shoes of a person that's waiting on a monthly check.
Let's say tomorrow
Yeah.
Donald Trump is elected president. What would you hope African Americans to plan for in the next 4 years in order to maintain?
Well, the pros and cons of the presidential election, Brother Roman, no matter who wins in the president's office, it's all about politics as usual. Black folks shouldn't expect much from Trump or Hillary Clinton. The vote numbers tell the story about Hillary right now as well, because in some pockets where a lot of African American people normally turn out in big numbers, they're not turning out like they did for President Obama. They're not turning out for Hillary Clinton in the same fashion. So now Trump wins. Let's say Trump is a man type of candidate. That's the rhetoric that he talks. Okay, he's a strong military-minded type of candidate, which we need a strong military in the United States. Hillary Clinton may be a little bit more lax with that when it comes down to protecting the United States on the highest level. But Trump is not fit to be president because he doesn't have the temperament of a president. He can play games with some of the people. You're not going to fool all the people all the time. Hillary Clinton has the best. She has more experience in that position based on her work as a U.S. Senator before, Secretary of State, working with President Obama and her husband. Her experience level in knowing world leaders is solid gold, but some of her policies have really impacted African-American people. Some of her husband's policies, rather, have really impacted African-American people. So this is what's called a hard call type of presidential election, because both candidates are pretty much flawed, which nobody's perfect. We understand that. But if you look at Trump, has no policy. Trump got lucky based on the fact that he was on the Apprentice. He has all this money. White privilege on 2.0. That's what it's about. I'm the kind of guy that'll run for president. You know me. But I had a few issues in my background, so I didn't want to go on the world stage and have all those issues out there. Okay? I've never been convicted of a crime in my life. But some people get things twisted with you when you run for higher level office. But I'm the guy that with the fortitude and backbone that'll push forward anyway. But I guarantee you, if I was running against Trump, they would look at me different than they look at Trump. What Trump did is he brought forward all the racist white people that exist across America to step up and support his cause. Because I see white women now. This guy talked about, grabbing women a certain way, disrespecting women on the highest level. But now I see white women saying, well, he didn't really mean it when he said it. Trump's really a good guy. He basically wouldn't go that far. But what about somebody else? What if President Obama had those type of things in his background? Nothing major, but it's something out there. But they've been as kind to him. Okay? So I'm not sure about, I have to vote. I plan to vote. I'm not going to say who I'm going to vote for, but you got two other people running. You got Jill Stein running on the Green Party ticket, and she has a brother Baraka running with her as her vice presidential candidate. And you have this guy, Gary Johnson, on the Libertarian ticket. So you do have four choices out there. People need to understand that.
That's true.
Yeah.
But again, people don't know their issues. They don't know what they stand for. Yeah. So you're kind of like choosing, and if you don't know what this person is about and what that person is about, people are going to be like, unless you really know.
Yeah. Well, they've been blacked out in the media. Okay, they're on the ballot.
But that's not necessarily true. We reached out to them, only one sent a representative.
Well, no, Intellectual Radio reached out to them because you're a grassroots radio station that's nationwide, and you believe in supporting people no matter what level they're on. That's what's good about Intellectual Radio, because it's about the people. But they've been blacked out with CNN. They've been blacked out. I mean, they got one shot on CNN a couple of times, but they don't get the same publicity as Trump and Clinton would receive. You got Trump's wife, no disrespect to her, but she plagiarized Michelle Obama's speech. I mean, it's like they can see white folks can get away with stuff that black folks cannot get away with. That's the point I'm making. I love all people, because when I ran for governor, over 30%, we secured close to 30% of the state vote, and I won 30 counties downstate, and mainly white counties. So I appreciate their support. That's why I plan to make another run at another office.
We'll talk about that
another
later.
time.
Yeah,
right? But the thing is this here, bro. We're not going to receive nothing no matter who wins. What politics is all about is whoever's in your inner circle, that's who will benefit. So Trump, I was about to say token brothers. Trump may have some token black folks around him. They're going to benefit, yes. Hillary has some token black folks around here. They're going to benefit. But the people as a whole will not benefit. Right now, the biggest question in America is, especially Chicago, how are you going to stop killings in Chicago? Nobody has a solution as it relates to stopping the killings in Chicago. The reason politicians get involved in gun control conversations is because when you have a massacre outside of Chicago, but we have a massacre in Chicago every weekend. But if somebody gets shot in Columbine, Connecticut, Florida, now it's a national debate about gun control. So we have to play it, call it like we see it, in other words, because a lot of candidates, they're not sincere. They just hit the hot topics when it benefits them.
Well, crime is another issue, specifically, as you mentioned, in Chicago. The weekend alone, 17 dead, over 35 shootings across Chicago. Again, I'm going to ask this question to you. I asked this before over the summer.
Yes.
It's fall. Are we in a gang war?
No, we're not in a gang war. We're in what you call a clique war. You got different cliques, so you can consider them gangs with the different offsets or offshoots of other gangs.
But not to interrupt you, but can you explain, because people are not understanding what's going on here, why certain individuals is getting popped, getting shot, gas station, you getting shot. Is it they're purging out there? What is going on? A lot of people that you wouldn't even know is being shot and killed or assassinated.
Right. Well, this is the thing. Young guys get involved in petty conflicts, and it turns deadly because homicide is in the minds of a lot of young men out here. And it's a public health emergency. And the only way you're going to stop killings in the black community, and I've said this time and time again, nobody is really picking up on it all the way. You need some serious guerrilla black men. And I don't want nobody to get the word guerrilla, take that the wrong way. But what I mean by guerrilla black men, you need black men with some serious backbone to go out into their community and reach their sons, their nephews, and their cousins and their friends, and let them know, look here, man, we are here to mediate all your conflicts for you. We need to stop the senseless killing in our community, and I need you brothers to come on board with this plan. We're not going to stop you when it comes down to defending yourself. Self-defense, we understand. But a lot of the senseless killings, we got to stop that together. So you can't go out to just preaching to the guys. You must approach them a way where they will understand and respect you. But there's not going to be no stopping no violence without any type of confrontation. And people don't want to really deal with that. The reason the police cannot stop killings is because the police have been in response mode since the inception of the police. They talk about serve and protect. It should be serve and respond. Because the thing is, the police wait for somebody to cross the line and break the law before they get involved. There's not enough attention put on preventing a killing from occurring. And you're not going to stop no killing unless you got a relationship with the killer. Because killers don't talk, they just commit to act. Okay? And the only way you're going to get in there is you must have that relationship. So people don't want to hear this because it might appear to be too radical, but I'm telling you the truth. Because every weekend, every year, you're going to expect over 400 and 500 homicides in Chicago because the police, they're not well equipped enough on their intelligence level to intercept whispers on the street in order to prevent a killing. And then even when a guy gets killed, there's only like a 30% clearance rate as it relates to resolving the homicide or finding the perpetrators. So politicians do not have an answer when it comes down to stopping the killings. I know certain politicians are running around on a listening tour. What are you listening for? Something we already know. You got a 100-year history of police corruption and misconduct in Chicago, which is documented. The Department of Justice already made it clear that Chicago is one of the most corrupt police departments in the United States right now. There's a book called Mean Streets that was written by a guy by the name of Andrew J. Diamond, and it talked about how in the early 1900s, how black folks would migrate from the South to the North, and they end up fighting Irish people, were killing our people back then, fighting our people for them jobs around the stockyard. But what happened is that it led to the 1919 riot in Chicago. Then there was another race riot in 1943. But what happened, the same people that were beating our people up became the police, the judges, and the prosecutors. And it's like the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. So when you talk about stopping violence in Chicago, you will see another face show up because somebody's pushing dope in our community. And they don't look like our people. They sell it to our people. Somebody's pushing illegal guns in our community. They don't look like our people, but they're selling them guns to our people. So when you talk about stopping killings, if you're not ready to deal with it on a realistic level, you're going to fail every time. A lot of programs come after people get killed too. Now that homicides up, you don't see these people in these programs talking about what they're doing. But if homicides were down, everybody would be on the news talking about this is what we're doing over here, this is what we're doing over there. See, killings have become a political football. Okay, a lot of people have made a name for themselves because of the tragedies of people out here that are losing loved ones. I just want to make that clear, Brother Roman. I know I kind of went on something there with you, but
no, go ahead.
I'm just being as strong and as clear as I can be because I'm out here on the front line working with brothers and sisters, and I know what it takes to stop killings before somebody, pulls a trigger. And then the work is not for the faint at heart.
Well, are you in favor of martial law in high crime areas? Are you in favor of that?
Well, what needs to happen in Chicago?
You discussed, you just said right. Militant.
I said guerrilla brothers.
Guerrilla brothers.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I was trying to get okay, guerrilla brothers.
Yeah.
Is martial law the answer here?
No. Martial
in high crime areas, do you think?
Martial law is not the answer because martial law is not going to bring back all the dead people that have been killed already, number one.
But it will
martial law
right?
is not going to stop the conspirators that are bringing dope in the black community. Martial law is not going to stop the illegal gun trafficking that's taking place in Chicago, Baltimore, and Philadelphia. If it wasn't for the black man breaking the law, the criminal justice system would be broke. See, this is a bigger story than anybody really wants to talk about. See, we have to understand in real clear terminology here that we have principalities and powers that are keeping the ghetto corrupt for their own benefit. We've been looking, let me tell you something. I look at empirical data all the time. The number of homicides have been pretty much the same since 1967. You had a spike in 74, had a spike in the 90s, but it actually kind of leveled back to where it's always been. So all the programs, all the money that goes in the police departments, it's not getting the job done. And I'm not saying this to be negative. I'm saying this because there's facts to back up what I'm saying. So we've been talking a good game since 1967 and have not produced any results. Okay? Because the killing game is one of the most secret societies in the world. Nobody talks about killing. That's why you can't stop it. Guys get into an argument at a gas station. How you know they about to kill somebody? A guy's at home loading his gun up. The only way you're going to find out you're going to shoot somebody tell and say, look, I need to have you go talk to this guy. It's not easy to do. So to make a long story short, my brother Roman, people are playing games and black folks are the pin the tail on the donkey type of experiment. Whatever you want to pin the tail on the donkey with black folks, you do it. Sexually transmitted diseases are really high in West Garfield and the Austin community. Murders are high. Austin is the #1 murder community in Chicago right now.
But that
all kinds of problems.
That was, and if you look a couple of years back,
right.
That wasn't the case.
Right.
It was Inglewood. Now
right.
It's Austin. What changed?
Look at the numbers. It always flips from Inglewood to Austin over the last few years. Rosen was high at one time. West Garfield, East Garfield. What changed is that young men, put it like this, older brothers are scared to go in there and address the young brothers the way they need to be addressed. That's what the problem is. See, I don't care how much money they give a program. You're not going to stop the killings like that. Right now, stopping the killings must become a black thing. It has to become a soul power thing. You got to get to the minds of these young brothers where they really can feel your spirit. You, my brother. It might sound corny, but you got to get them brothers in basements, man, and cuss them out and bring them to a high level of understanding after you do that. I need you. I can't talk on this show the way I need to talk, my brother. But the thing is,
yeah, you can.
No, I'm not going to go there. But what I'm trying to tell you,
there's no restrictions here,
these
Tio.
brothers need a general type of person in their life,
but
like a drill sergeant in their life that can help them come out of the way they think on a black man's term.
But in essence, what you're saying is basically we need to go back to the Black Panther method.
I'm not saying that either. What I'm saying,
but you're saying militant.
No, I never use the word militant. I use the word guerrilla.
Guerrilla methods. But
right.
Exactly, that's what the Black Panthers did. In order to maintain control, they did use some of those methods.
You know, when I meant guerrilla brothers, because we live in a new day and time now. This year 2016. I mean brothers with absolute backbone that can go in there in the face of these killers, say, man, I need you to come on board with me. Because you know, and I know some of this senseless killing is really unnecessary. What you brothers are doing is nothing. Nobody's gaining from this. You need somebody to be able to take them through a historical journey into why we flooding these damn penitentiaries out here and why people's trying to destroy black folks. People got hatred for black folks and they don't even know why. You got people that hate us and we haven't even not even stepped on their toes because there's a jealousy of black people, man. And it's unnecessary. I'm not saying everybody's that way, but a lot of people are that way. Case in point, Mount Greenwood, just 2 days ago, they killed a brother over there. I don't know all the circumstances, but all the racism came out of them white folks over there. There was actually over there calling people niggers and, you know, tar babies, you know, names that I hadn't heard in a long time, right? They were actually making them type of statements and references toward black folks, but we haven't done nothing to them. And some of them people are police officers, Brother Roman. So what I'm telling you, brother, this thing is bigger than what we will ever understand. That's why you take a blast from the past and we got to get back into how we were unified unfortunately, during the slave era. We got to come up under one covenant of black folks in order to stop the killing in our community. Stop waiting on the police, stop waiting on the politician, and basically we need guerrilla brothers that are related to the killers. Hear me clearly in this science here. The guerrilla brothers have to be related to the killers. Because when you go out there as a stranger trying to talk to a killer, you're going to lose your life, especially if you stand on them a certain way. Ain't no sense in playing, which I know what I'm talking about. You can try any program in the universe. You're not going to stop no damn killings until you get some guerrilla brothers that used to be a part of that mess to go out there and say, man, I need you motherfuckers with me. Excuse my language, man.
It's IntellectualRadio.com.
Excuse me, brother. So, he told me I can talk. He told me I can talk.
Yeah, I told you.
Okay.
Earl agreed. Do you think Chicago is very corrupt and divided between the haves and the have-nots? How we're going to solve that division between the haves and the have-nots? You alluded to some of that regarding this question. We are divided. How can we solve the divide here?
Well, the thing is, the have and have-nots has been around since the old England days too. You had guys working the serfs and the kings and the lords. You had people working on the side of the castle. So I'm just saying that's been around since the beginning of time. Even in African societies, you had.
Well, I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. In our own community, the haves and the have-nots.
Well, you're not going to change that, bro, because the system is not set up to help everybody. You know, if you don't eat, I don't eat. That should be the African concept, but you know, that's not the concept in America. It's all about me eating, and then I can look out for who I can when I can. So that's not going to change anytime soon. Right now, there needs to be a refocus with all the have-nots per se need to come together and organize to make sure that we get some have-nots in these high-level offices. You got to understand, you got more poor and working class people in Illinois than you have rich people. So if the have-nots, you know, we put them in that basket, we all unify, we can run things. We can run the whole state and the city. We have a mayor, Rahm Emanuel, right now sitting in office, covered up a murder, black politicians, black preachers, steady, you know, holding his, carrying his water for him. You know, all has been forgiven. Roman, if you break the law like that, you won't even be on intellectual radio no more. I'm saying you probably will because Earl's a good brother, but the thing is, you're not going to definitely, you may have some issues. You may not get right back on. Mayor Rahm Emanuel should step down. If he he keeps saying he didn't see the video. If you didn't see the video, then take a lie detector test. And the taxpayers in Chicago should do the math and force him to take a polygraph. You hear me? I'm just being straight up with you. Quit playing games. This man is a criminal. Okay, he covered up a murder to win his re-election bid. So we talking about Chicago being corrupt? Yeah, Chicago's corrupt because the Irish people have been running the Chicago Police Department for over 100+ years, and now things are breaking up a little bit. But if people don't read the books and study their history, they ain't gonna know none of this stuff. See, this is bigger than a black man getting shot on the corner. This is bigger. Our youth are really, their thinking has changed.
But do you think we're the problems for not being informed? Do you think that we missed the boat, so to speak? We allowed time to go by without even, okay, I'll give you a prime example.
Mm-hmm.
Your generation, some people have said this,
mm-hmm.
have failed our generation. And our generation is failing the other generation. Right. Somewhere in between there is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Why somebody would say, hey, we need to reach back. We need to teach, inform, put policies or legislations, as you said, in place to get rid of the people. If you're not going to do the job, if you're not going to teach us, if you're not going to lead us, we're going to get rid of you.
Right.
You say?
No, I agree with you on that. I think, but when you look at how they say my generation or another generation that failed the people, you got to look at the model that black leadership worked from. We had the Jessies out there, we got Farrakhan, you had Dr. King at one time, Stokely Carmichael, Huey P. Newton, Malcolm X. That's a generation removed from my generation, okay? A couple of generations removed, so to speak, okay? Not even generations, but decades. I just put it like that. So the reality of it is this here. The model is being set up where we focus on one or two leaders. And we have to stop doing that because you got a lot of black folks that have been married, raised their kids, and their kids are doing okay. You got strong black families out here. Another myth that needs to be dispelled. You have more black men in college than you have in jail. But if you look at the media sometimes, they have you to believe that there's more black men in jail than in college. That's factual. We have to stop allowing them stories to go out there on the mainstream or whatever, because you have strong black folks that are doing the best they can. So when you talk about people failing a generation, I can't just say that, but we do know there's a history of selloutism with some of our leaders. We know that. So because when you sell out, what happens then is that you become part of the problem. Because instead of you trying to reach for the multitudes that you claim you represent, you really reached out for yourself. That's a problem there. And we have data and documentation to prove that some people have sold out. So it's not like we're just saying that. So that's what happens because a lot of leaders, but let me just say this quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm tired of talking about it really. I ain't talking about on the show, I'm just talking about in reality.
Okay.
For over 30+ years, I've been hearing people say that we need to own the businesses in our community.
Mm-hmm.
And we still haven't done it. Okay? We still haven't done. I mean, we own businesses in our community, don't get me wrong, but you got the Arabs. They take millions of dollars out of the black community. I don't knock them for it because they saw an opening. I'm talking about the liquor store industry. You got the Koreans, the nail shops, the dry cleaners. They take millions of dollars out of the community. I can't knock them because they saw an opening. But if we were to own and operate all those businesses in our community, the brothers wouldn't have to sell no dope. They can open up a liquor store and make $1 million a year in some of these locations, opposed to selling dope to their people. And they can hire their people to work in these stores. And we can, matter of fact, what the Arabs do, they all put their money in a pot and they look at the whole city and see who's going to open this store, get their cousin money to open up a store. They get their cousin money that just came from over there off of Camel to Chicago money to open up a liquor store. Some of the people they don't even understand English, but they know what the dollar means. They making your black dollar while you sitting around here starving. So black leadership has a lot of problems, and not one person really has an answer. Because even when it comes down to protesting against the police, protesting against black on black crime, I see a lot of people find it safer to protest against the police. Because you take your butt out there, go have a prayer vigil on a killer's front porch. Go have a candlelight vigil there. Block the killer's car from coming out his driveway. If you really want to stop killers in the black community, do something like that. The way you go protest downtown and shut down stores. I'm up with all that, but take it to the hood as well. You know why they ain't gonna take it to the hood? Because them brothers will get up with them. We dealing with a double standard here, man. And people don't want to hear this, but I'm just a guy that speaks to minds of a lot of people. Some people scared to talk this way.
And speaking of talk, there is a solution. I said this over and over again on my show. Why not develop a black community credit union? You don't have to follow the restriction of a bank.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about putting money within.
Right.
Why not start a credit union?
I'm all for that. Anything that would empower the Black community, I'm definitely in favor of it. But I tell you, we spend billions of dollars outside our community. And matter of fact, the dollars only stay like in the Black community like 24 hours. If we can get that dollar to stay in our community for 6 minutes, right? If we can get that dollar to stay in our community for an entire week, we can really make some changes out here. We got problems because of, some of I don't want to point fingers at leaders, because the thing is, you have to be your own leader nowadays. But that doesn't mean you don't work with other leaders, because there's no time to really. We failed our people to a degree, brother, on a lot of policies. I mean, politically, financially. So we got a lot of issues out there, a lot of skeletons in the closet.
Teens and young adults are killing each other with assault weapons.
Right.
Assault weapons are very expensive. The key question is, the politicians are saying where they're getting the guns from, why the guns are being brought into these communities. And they seem like they're dumbfounded why they have these type of guns. You say what to that degree? Because to me, I think they know the answer to that question, because they just don't want to say. They just want to act political. You say what?
Well, just make no mistakes. You have people in power that know where those guns are coming from. You got people, on the police department, they probably know where the guns are coming from. I keep trying to tell the people, I wish our people would wake up. The Black man is being hunted. And that doesn't mean that all Black men are being hunted. You got middle class, you got the brothers in the ghetto, you got the rich brothers and sisters. Rich brothers and sisters doing their thing, they living their life. Middle class, they living their life. But the brothers on ground zero in the hood, they struggling every day. It's like a concrete jungle out there, and you got a lot of people that are benefiting off the tragedies in the Black community. That's all I'm trying to tell you, my brother. So we're being set up, actually. And I say this based on facts, not just based on what I'm talking. There have been many stories in the media where freight trains were left open with semi-automatic weapons in there and assault rifles. How does that happen? Why does it only happen in Inglewood or in the so-called ghetto, but it's not happening down in Naperville? It's not happening in Barrington. It's not even happening in Rogers Park. So you tell me how the hell you're going to get a freight train with all those semi-automatic weapons left wide open in the hood? Somebody tell me that. You answer that for me, brother.
Well, actually, I can, because when I had attorney Sam Adams,
yes,
I asked that same question.
Right.
And he brought that up.
Oh, right.
And I said, why not file a lawsuit against Union Pacific, because you follow a trail?
Right.
Why not? You saying you have a rest stop. And when this issue arose, they're saying you got to go to the federal.
Right.
Then the federal saying you got to go to the state. So now you're kind of pivoting. You're kind of like palming things over, because you're getting too close to the issue here. You're getting to the meat of the problem. I still want to make my money here.
Yes.
So you hit it dead on with Union Pacific. Why they're having rest stops in Inglewood, in a high crime area, and how there's approximately 100 freights.
Right.
How they know one specific freight is the assault weapons? How do they know that?
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm not saying you have to answer it, but I'm just saying.
Right.
Two is, you look up, and not only they get double their money, you know that, right?
Right.
Because of the insurance. Now I'm asking, if you know this, I know this, Black attorneys know this, you know that more community leaders know this. Why nothing is being done about this? Why Union Pacific is keep on doing the things that they're doing? You have a multi-million-dollar company that's doing this.
Well, you got to just call it like you see it, bro. It's bigger than even Union Pacific. You got people out here that are involved in making sure that the Black community has enough weapons to self-destruct. I'm not saying the brothers should take the bait, but brothers are taking the bait. And it's unfortunate. And one of the biggest gangs in Chicago is the undiagnosed mental health gangs, because you got people out here that have psychotic behavior, homicidal behavior, and they really have mental health issues, but they cannot, they don't want to get the help they need. So they're riding around killing people. So you got to understand, it's been scientifically proven, bro, that some people have a smaller empathy gland in their brain. And that empathy gland, the smaller it is, people don't have the capacity to feel what you and I feel. That's how a person can go kill a kid in cold blood and shoot him in his head, or stab somebody 80 times out of emotions or whatever and go eat a Burger King Whopper right afterwards. You got some cold, calculated people out here that don't care nothing about you or nothing I'm talking about. That's a whole different scenario there. That's why I said earlier, you need some guerrilla brothers, intellectual guerrilla brothers with some real serious backbone that can go in their community and deal with their own people. You're not going to stop no killing no other way. You're not going to hear this from no politician. You're not going to hear this from no leader, because it's not politically correct to talk this way. I'm not concerned about being politically correct. We're losing too many youth out here because black men are cowards and they're scared to stand up to their own people. Because when a real black man stand up for real, then it's going to be exposed all the people that are involved in flooding our community with dope. If you look, you want to talk about the past, the Black Panther Party did their best to stop heroin and cocaine from coming in the black community. But as you notice, it came through it anyway, because they can only do so much, because the powers that be were funding a lot of different wars on the money from the drug trade. And people are making big money on weapons out here. Big money is big money in the NRA. People are making money on weapons. And there was a book called The Negro Question that was written, I forget the author's name, it was written many years ago, when our ancestors actually were pretty much liberated from slave conditions. There was a big question that went throughout the United States. What do we do with these Negroes now? That's the bigger question. So once our ancestors were free, then we had to work with the Jim Crow laws. And some of our ancestors had to go right back to their master and work on the plantation that they just got off of because they didn't have nowhere to go. See, we was never brought over here to be in the position we're in today, but our ancestors made sure we're doing the best that we can do to move forward now. So the reason I'm talking this way, because it's deeper than people would ever understand. We got the legacy of slavery, the legacy of the civil rights movement, the legacy of the Black Power movement, the legacy of how pure crack cocaine was placed in our community. That to destroy our people. You got the Jim Crow. Okay, then you're looking at the new Jim Crow, the book that Michelle Alexander wrote about mass incarceration. Come on, man, we got 52,000 plus inmates in Illinois right now, in IDOC, Illinois Department of Corrections, close to 10,000 inmates in the Cook County Jail. Over 60% of them are African-American people. If it wasn't for the young black man breaking the law, the criminal justice system would be broke. People need to understand and recognize that. Right now, we need a new order in the black community by strong black men that can reach stronger young black men and flip them killers into thinkers, thought leaders, because when you broke, you're going to try to dominate your community. That's just the way it goes. And I'm not going to get animalistic with it, because animals even do that. When you out there and you're scarce food and everything, you got to be the strongest person in your community, which means I'm going to get the pistol, I'm going to shoot, blow somebody's brains out so they know that I'm the one. But the only difference today, you got guys like that on every other corner. You might kill somebody today and you get killed tomorrow. Okay, there's no tough guy out here. Everybody tough. That's the difference. That's why you got a lot of murders today, because everybody's tough.
Do you say resources?
Resources can help, but if you don't change the mind of our brothers, so they start seeing themselves as brothers and sisters for real instead of seeing themselves as enemies, I don't care how much money you get. Some of these guys got money and they killing. People don't understand that. I know a lot of these guys. Some of these guys have money, but they still killing people. So it's not all, money plays a role.
So you're saying the job and the money, it plays a role, but right. It's not
all, because we've been tricked to look at each other like enemies. We've been tricked. We got to reverse that thinking. Let me tell you something about facts here. I was growing up as a teenager in the late 70s and 80s. Okay, that's back when gangs were really organizing. They were organizing nations back then. Those guys had jobs with their mob, lieutenants, chieftains, supreme elites, and all that old crazy stuff, right? I'm talking about back in that day. And there were plenty of jobs in the late 70s. There were plenty of jobs in the 80s. It's jobs out here now. People need to go out there and get them a job. I agree with that. But if you don't change the mindset of how these young brothers look at each other, we've been tricked to believe that we are not the same people, bro. Anytime you take a label, I'm over here, you over there, we already divided. We've been tricked religiously, spiritually, and on the streets. We've been tricked by the poor, the middle class, and the rich. And I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not pointing fingers at people. I'm just telling you the truth based on Tio's perspective, okay? From my experience working with my brothers and sisters. I talked to some young guys over on 75th and Hermitage. They told me they hate the brothers 2 blocks over. They say they hate them. I said, why you hate them? These guys are 10, 11 years old. They say, well, my brothers hate them. We don't get along with them. So when they turn 16, 17, they got extreme hate for them brothers 2 blocks over. Where does that come from? It's passed down from generation to generation. Everybody's making money on black folks again, but black folks. Everybody.
Now, because of time's sake, I'm just want to say this.
Yeah.
Why we're not teaching black on black love? Just a one word, a couple of words.
I'm going to just say it before we get out your show. I understand black on black love. I embrace that. You need some guerrilla brothers in Chicago that's going to take over their community and get it right first. Then you can push all the love you want to push, because you're not going to stop no killing without confrontation.
Okay, there is a lot at stake in tomorrow's election. If you are an African-American voter, what issue or issues should be on the first on their list and why?
Could you ask me that again? I can get caught up in the movement.
Okay, the first issue that jumps out that someone should vote for either candidate.
The first policy issue?
Yeah, first policy issue they should be concerned about.
Well,
because you're also voting for state's attorney as well.
Well, stopping the killing, that should be number one. How can we, being a superpower, allegedly, why do we have such high levels of killings in America? Okay, we got to find a way to stop it. Seriously, that's number one. See, then a community, we can work on everything else once we get peace. Okay, that's one thing I would say.
Now, be remiss. You are considering making another run for an elected position again. Let's do the dance now.
That's fine.
Go ahead.
I put it out there because we tried Ryan. We tried Quinn Blagojevich and Browner. Why not try Tio Hardiman? Let's bring some new flavor to the governor's mansion. I can only be myself. I'm not trying to be like nobody else, but we need a black governor down there, not just because you're black, but because we got some new ideas that can help move the state forward.
So you open up a can of worms again.
How's that?
Because you said you need a new governor. Are you considering running for running for governor?
I wouldn't even consider a run if I didn't do well when I ran the first time. I actually secured close to 30% of the overall state vote in the primary, and then also with a little bit of money. So imagine a Tio Hardiman with, let's say, a minimum of $500,000. I can shake the state up for real, because I'm the kind of guy, I know how to talk to people on all levels. Even though I'm talking about the movement now, I can put my other hat on and talk about, whatever, higher education, whatever you want to talk about. So the reality is this here. It's time for a change. And we as black people, Hispanic people, even white people should stop looking at everybody they put in front of us. The Democratic machine has failed. I just told you earlier on, right now, the unemployment rate for black folks in Illinois is #1 in the nation. And we've had Democrats and Republicans in office, okay? Nothing has changed with that number. So why not try Tio Hardiman? What do you have to lose, really? Bruce Rauner, a year ago, sent Rahm Emanuel a dead fish, telling me it was a joke. He wanted to play like he was mafiosa while he was cutting mental health programs and the damn state budget wasn't even passed, okay? But he's sending this man a damn dead fish. Look, I can't say what I want to say, brother. I appreciate you being on your show. It
was getting good. Why stop there?
No,
why stop there?
And I don't want to show all my cards, man. I can't do that.
So the answer is you're under consideration, right?
But they need a proven leader in that position.
Okay.
A proven leader. Just put it like that.
I'm going to put that as a yes. So thank you so much, man. It's never amazed me you be here. Yes, thank you so much. That's going to do it for us on the Drive at 5 on IntellectualRadio.com/iHeart Radio Station as Tio gets out of his seat. Thanks to Earl Winfrey, our executive producer, Rhea Ray, who is up next with Straight No Chaser and Wanda. Thank you so much. Rhea Ray is up next with Straight No Chasers. Have a good week, everyone.